story true. Windows into autism, bringing us closer to you, y'all.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Windows into Autism.
A long time.
It's been a while, and for those who are just now joining, welcome in general. My name is Crystal Mendez Covington. I am one of your hosts.
And my name is Hope Trent Mendez, also known as Mama Mendez, and I'm your second host.
And we are here to talk all things autism. Nothing is off topic, nothing is embarrassing, and nothing is silly. So we wanted to come back. First of all, we want to say thank you to our audience that we have. You guys have been asking us to come back. There's some reasons why we've been gone a while, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And then we're going to do a review. We thought we'd start off fun, and we're going to do a review of season 1 of Love on the Spectrum, which is on Netflix. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that show and you've probably watched it. So, we wanted to give our take on it. But first, let's talk about why we've been gone. I've been working. I'm still a full-time therapist. I'm still a full-time occupational therapist.
In other words, she has 20 million jobs.
I have
Let's just put it out there.
I have 20 million jobs.
Yes, you have 20 million jobs.
20 million and one with this podcast, but I love it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I've been really doing that, and I've been working on other businesses, which I hope to bring on the podcast to promote them as well. And then the real major event that happened was that we had a medical family emergency. So
we had to take time to circle the wagons and take care of family.
Yes, for sure. So that's why we were gone a while, and now we're back better than ever with video. We listened to your comments, and everyone said they wanted video, so we are trying something different. So now you get to see our cute faces. Finally. It's been a long time.
Yes, I covered the bags underneath my eyes.
Mine are still here for work, but we're going to work on that. So, so that's it. That's why we've been gone a while, and we're really hoping to get back in the swing of things. We want to give you more guests, more information, different topics. So if you have any topics that you'd like us to discuss, we'll give you information on how to contact us.
Yeah, definitely.
So anything else you want to add, Mommy? I think that was good.
No, I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So we're going to get started with Love on the Spectrum.
Yes.
So this is a series on Netflix. I don't remember when the first season came out. They started in Australia. They had Love on the Spectrum in Australia, and then they brought it to the United States. So we are reviewing the United States season 1. And we have our information here just because we want to make sure we keep the name straight and things of that nature. So before we get into our thoughts of Love on the Spectrum, we just wanted to review some of the topics, why some people loved it, why some people didn't love it. And then we'll get into our thoughts. So, and we're going to, answer some questions about the series. Well, one thing that I wanted to point out with the series, which I did not know, is that the cast did not get paid for this. I didn't know that. I thought they might have gotten some sort of financial incentive, but they did not. They had expenses paid for. So they had like the dates and transportation, things like that, but they didn't receive any compensation. So I thought that was interesting. And then I just kind of did a little research online to see like what people thought about the season. So I just wanted to share that there was some criticism of the show, and then we could share our opinions.
What was the criticism? I'd rather hear that first.
Right. So I'll start with the negative just to get that out the way. Yeah. One of the things that was said was that it was I can't never say this word, infantilization, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. When adults are treated like infants, right? So that was the opinion of the show, that the autistic adults were not necessarily treated like adults.
So shows like The Bachelor, they're treating those adults like infants? Because it's basically the same premise.
Well, maybe the way these adults act on the show, maybe they are. So, but that's just a criticism. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Because on the flip side of that, there was the opposite. Like some people felt like they weren't treated like infants, that they were treated like adults. So,
like me.
Yeah, well, there you go. So everyone has their opinion.
Yeah.
Another criticism was that it did not show the realistic side of dating, and there were inaccurate statistics of autistic people dating. But I didn't do a deeper dive into that. Y'all know me, I like to research, but I didn't do a deeper dive into that. That's just one of the criticisms. Another one was poor coaching advice, that they were taught to pull out a chair, how to start a conversation, but they really weren't exposed into how to make an emotional connection with another person. So that was another...
They have autism?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying...
I'm
just saying what the criticism
is.
Okay. And then, there was a concern. Now, this is season 1, by the way. This is not further on. But for season 1, there was a concern about not showing LGBTQ plus people with autism.
Actually, there is, I don't know if she's on the first season, but there is a young lady.
Yeah, but not on the first season.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think it's the first season.
Yeah, no, not the first season. So we're only talking about the first season. And they do have someone later on that is part of that community. But,
yes.
And the other criticism was that it didn't show, well, it's a dating show, but they didn't really show couples on the show, but it is a dating show. So they're finding love. They're not already in love. So those were the criticisms. And then the positive ones was that they showed a range of functioning of autistic people. So you had a wide range. What else did they say? So that another criticism. I'm sorry, I couldn't read my handwriting. Another positive critique was that it showed that autistic people want the same thing as anyone else, right? That they want to have a partner or have a relationship, that they want to find love, right? Which is something that a lot of us want. Some people don't want to find that, and that's fine. But in general, most people want to find that.
Some people find it and want to lose it.
I'm not even going there with you. What now? My opinion of the show. So those are the general critiques that I found online. But my opinion of the show is that what I did like is that it did show autistic people dating, right? This is something that they do, that they have struggles with just like anyone else. I mean, I don't struggle anymore because I'm married. But we all have been there and struggled with dating, right? So it's no different for them. But what was unique for me that stood out was that the people on the show that we're going to talk about, how do I say? They showed them dating other people with different disabilities. So they weren't just dating someone with autism. Like you had someone with Down syndrome or you had someone with intellectual disability. So they are, they're not just, trying to stick to one.
They're not focusing on just one little section.
Yeah. That's what I liked about the show. And to be honest, as an occupational therapist, when I saw the dating coach, I was like, this is our field because we do social relationships. As an occupational therapist, we do that. So I was like, I feel like OT would be a great fit, probably a better fit. But I am biased, so I'm not going to lie about that. I am biased because I'm an occupational therapist. So I know we could do it all, and we do it all, but that's just kind of my opinion.
Also, I think you would have it from the perspective of not only being a mother of an autistic child, but also the sister of an autistic child.
I
think that's even a better fit because you are a professional, but you also know what goes along with it, and I think someone as professional as they can be, you have a more insight, I would think. To what that person is going through or what that person needs. So, Yeah,
I think so.
And I could just be, a proud mother. So.
Well, I think when it comes to dating, though, like, would I be a good, I'll say, dating coach as a
Yeah, because you know what the mistakes are.
I do, but on the flip side, my brother didn't date. So he didn't want a girlfriend. He wasn't really interested in that. Yeah. So,
well, actually, as he got older, you know,
he wanted a girlfriend young.
Yeah, because you asked him one time when you were like you asked him one time, and he said yes.
Okay. Well, now he don't.
Now he don't.
He done changed his mind.
He's an old grumpy man. That's what he is. He's an old grumpy man.
But I do ask him questions about, like, what does it mean to have a girlfriend? You know, what do you do with a girlfriend? And when he told me that you kiss, I was like, whoa, slow down. Y'all need to hold hands
first. He said you hold hands.
Because I brought that up. I was like, whoa. But yes.
Yeah, first he said you hold hands and then you kiss. Yeah, then the kiss.
And I was like, slow down, buddy. We don't need to go there yet. But yeah, that's kind of the dating aspect that I have with my brother. Now, when it comes to my son, y'all, that's
well, he's a whole different animal.
Whoever come into his life better be ready.
Sorry for you.
He better be ready. Because you're going to have to deal with me. I'm not going to lie. I'm a nice person. I'm not going to sound crazy, but, you know, I'm protective of my children. So even if my daughter dates, I'm going to be like, who's this guy? What are we doing here?
No, they got to watch out for her daddy.
Yeah, well, yeah. And his friends. Like, they have to be ready.
Yeah.
Because they'll you know, be waiting and ready and all that. Yes. So, okay, so those are the critiques of the show, Mom. Do you have any critiques that you want to...
I think... I have nothing negative to say about the show. I like it because when you have a child with any disability, people want to put that child in a frame or a box and say, this is who they are, what they feel. And Love on the Spectrum shows they're just as diverse as the rest of us. They want different things. We all have different issues in our lives. They have another issue in their life. And what I like about it is it, in a way, normalizes the people, the ones they're focusing on. In other words, they're just like us. They're a little different, and we're all a little different. None of us are the same. Right. It would be a very boring world if we all were the same.
Right.
So what I like about this show is it shows that there are differences among us all,
right.
But in the long run, we usually want the same things and want to have the same life.
Want to be connected.
Want to have a same future.
Right.
It may be more difficult for others, but
right.
And this is what I love about it, because when my son was born in 1977, you do the math how old I am. And when he was growing up, it was this narrow box that they put him in. And it was very disturbing and it was very frustrating.
Right.
Whereas shows like this, and not only other shows, movies and things are showing them, no, they're not in this little box. They are as wide as the rest of the world.
There is no box.
There is no box.
For sure.
So that's why I love this show.
Yeah.
And they're funny. I'm sorry.
They are funny. One thing, and then we'll get to the questions that I have prepared, but another thing that I liked about the show is the honesty, right? Because like on the first or second date, they're kind of like, okay, you know, I think we should be friends. There's no games. There's no manipulation. It's just, this is what it is. No hard feelings. Yeah. Like, let's move on. And I feel like as neurotypical people, we can learn from that. And just
if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. If you're a size 8, you're not going to wear a size 6 shoe. I mean,
right.
So,
and that's what I appreciate about the show. All right. So, do you have a favorite person on the show?
No, I love them all. I do
like them all. Some of the people from season 1 were not asked back. So we did learn that. I don't want to give too much away in case you haven't watched it yet. But like from the first season, there were like, one person did come back for the second season, but not for the third. And then one person did not come back after the first season. So I'm kind of curious what happened to them, but I didn't get too much information. But you don't have a favorite person. I don't think I do either, because everybody's unique and different.
Exactly.
And there's certain characteristics that I like about everyone. Like Steve. Steve has the gloves, the black gloves.
The murderous gloves.
I didn't say that. She did. I didn't say that. But, and we're not like judging him or anything.
No,
it's
that's
just,
what he says. That's what he says.
It's just when he's out in California and he's got this heavy coat and black gloves, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Do you, boo?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
Because it's like your brother. It can be 90 degrees outside, but he'll want a wool hat over his head.
And the windows closed in the car, like no.
So, yeah.
No. Was anything disturbing about the show? Yeah. Well, while she's thinking.
I can't think, while I'm thinking.
While she's thinking, I'll tell you. Well, maybe not disturbing, but it was upsetting. And it was with Kaylin went on a date, and then she was supposed to go on a second date, and the guy never got back to her. He canceled. And then that was it. They never. And that's what I mean. Like, instead of, like, listen, I don't know what happened in their conversation or anything like that, because this is a show. But that's what I'm talking about. Instead of just saying up front, like, listen, I think you're a nice girl. Thanks for the first date. I'm looking for something different. There was just no response. As far as I know, that's how the show made it seem. So that was,
and I
didn't like that.
Did he cancel or did somebody else cancel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a show, so I do have to take it with a grain of salt. But that's what bothered me. Like, you could have just been like, thanks. Like, no, I'm not interested. But so that's what kind of bothered me. If you could ask anyone from the cast a question, what would you ask? I know what I would ask y'all.
Go ahead, because I can't.
Steve, why you wear these gloves, Steve? What's up with the gloves, Steve? Listen, I think I think you are an amazing guy. I would like to meet you one day. But I'm like, what is it, a sensory thing? Because my OT hat is on. Like, is it a sensory thing? Like, you don't, like, what is it? What's up with the gloves?
I think, if anything, I would ask them how involved are their parents or family members in their looking for a match.
Yeah.
Involved. Do they constantly give them advice? Do this, do that, or do they? That's a good question. Step aside and let them really, really make their own decisions. That's why when you talked about Kaylin, I what did I say? Did he really cancel it, or somebody else cancel? So in other words, how involved is the family group?
And you know what? Thank you for bringing that up, because that was actually one of the another critiques that I found online, was that it seemed like a lot of family involvement. Like, it seemed like the show interviewed the families more than the participants. That was another.
Well, for me, watching the episodes, it was the parents or family members, because you had brothers and sisters doing the same thing.
Right.
Constantly giving them advice of what to do and what not to do. And if anything bothered me, it kind of unless, was... I mean, I didn't do that to you as an adult. I mean, if you came to me and you had a question about, or you told me about this person, what did I think? That's different. But for them, before they even go on a date, well, don't do this, don't do that. And it's like...
Yeah, especially James, like because his parents were older.
Oh, please, yeah.
They were.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be like, "Okay, Mom, okay."
That was, and then you're giving them the idea of, okay, what do I do? What don't I do? Is this the right thing? I don't know. And listen, let them. I mean, I didn't go out with you on dates. Well,
no, thank goodness, no.
So
no.
to me, them parents and family members doing that, and it's like you're going out on a date with them. Let them find out what is the point of them going out on a date if you're going to, manage it as a parent and grandparent. We're all the same, whether, we all have differences. And everyone should be treated the same.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should be treated with respect. Everyone should be treated as an individual. And I want the world to understand and know this. Because, for an example, for me, when Jason was growing up, I heard so many people. Well, it actually started with a doctor who saw him for maybe like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And his first response was, you need to put him away. Jason was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And it's, and that's when I realized people are going to look at my son and already decide who and what he is and where he belongs.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why I really love this show, because it just like so-called normal people don't want to be put in a box. Any human being with any type of feeling does not want to be put in a box, does not want to be thought of less than.
Right.
And this show proves that.
I think what I would want people to know, I already knew this, excuse me, I already knew this, but I want people to know that autistic people have the same feelings as anybody else. So even if they're non-speaking, meaning like they're not talking with their voice, but there's other forms of communication.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that situation, they still have these feelings. So even if someone can't verbally communicate, let's say, their hormones are still going to rage. They're still going to go through puberty. And they're going to have feelings and questions and things that they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the show does a good job of doing that. And what I also like about the show is that there's also a range of age. Like Steve at the time was 63 when he filmed the first season. I don't remember what year the season came out, but he was 63.
Mm.
You have people in their 30s, in their 20s, things like that. So I want people to really understand, like, just how you have feelings of desire, of pleasure, of pain, whatever. There's no different.
Mm-hmm.
And why would it be different? Just because there's, something different doesn't mean that they don't have those same feelings. So that's what I want people to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you change if everyone knew that? What would change if everyone knew this idea? So for me, for example, if everyone understood that autistic people have the same feelings, what would change? I think attitudes would change. I think hiding information would change, right? So if people really understood that autistic people have the same feelings, desires, pleasures, pains, whatever, there wouldn't be this hiding of information, especially when it comes to sexual health and wellness, right? It wouldn't be, let's not talk about that. Let's not go into that. I'm not right. Like, no, because it's coming and you know that they have the same feelings. So let's, in an appropriate manner, let's share information. Let's make it age appropriate. Let's make it, appropriate for that individual. But I think that if people really got that idea, that they're not, they don't stay babies forever. They grow up and become adults. And if you really understood that, then I think, them having access to information that they need to make decisions would change.
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. But unfortunately, I believe it is shows like this are helping to change it. The mentality of the general population is they are children forever.
Right.
That's it. I for an example, and it's not just those who have intellectual or developmental disabilities, they used to think the same thing about people who were born deaf.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That because they're born deaf, they're imbeciles, they don't have the same feelings, they're childlike, they just can't hear. I mean, now the attitude has changed, but I know growing up, because I was born in the 50s.
You do the math.
This was the attitude of the general population.
Right.
But
I think it was like that with any disability. If you were deaf, if you had a physical disability.
Yeah, but I'm just using deafness as an example,
mm-hmm.
Because of course, someone with an intellectual or developmental disability, of course, people, children born with cerebral palsy, the same thing.
Right.
This is not that there's anything wrong with their mind or brain.
Correct.
It's a physical disability.
Correct.
But people still thought the same thing about them.
100%.
So, yeah.
No, you're right. You're totally right about that. And people still think that way.
Yeah.
I think the tide has changed, but there's still that stigma out there.
Yeah.
So who should see this show, and what is the main takeaway?
Anybody who wants to see the show, see the show.
I think
watch the show. I'll be honest, it's entertaining. It is entertaining.
It is.
It shows you their thought process or processes. Whatever. Listen, you know what I'm saying. They, how they go about dating, what they're looking for, it's just fun. It's entertaining and it's insightful to watch them go through the process. I mean, listen, if you're going to watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette, which I would rather watch this.
I think if you're looking for a show that you can watch with your family, depending on the age, because sometimes the content might be a little risque, because they do talk about other topics.
Yes.
I think it's a good show you could watch with the family, again, depending on the age of your family. Also, in our house, we try to keep Sunday holy. We try to keep the Sabbath holy, so we don't watch anything with violence or cursing or things like that.
Right.
So it's a show that, I feel comfortable watching on a Sunday. I think anyone that wants to learn more about, autism in general should watch the show. I think families with autism should watch the show to see what's coming down the line, right? Like things that you might not have thought about, you might want to consider.
But you better start thinking.
You want to start thinking about that. And I think everyone should watch the show, period. But I think also too, like professionals, right? Because we get so focused on, education. We get focused on getting a job, things like that. And we don't really take the time to think about the social life of that person, right? So, it gives you insight into things that we can address, especially from an OT perspective.
Yeah, well, it's also, their emotional feelings, It's also listening to them emotionally.
Right. No, I totally agree with you,
I think a lot of people, not just, professionals, but a lot of people kind of act like they don't have emotions.
Right.
Or they think their emotions are, if you look at certain movies, and this was chaps my, is when it's always showing them having an outburst and that flailing and, it's, and you don't see that here. Why? Because that's not what they are.
It's a range. That's why it's called a spectrum. It's a range.
So I love it.
Oh, sorry. That was my timer for our show. We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
So we have our Autism Authenticity Scale based on my son who loves crayons. We do 1 to 5 crayons, 5 being an amazing portrayal. Mommy, what you say?
You know what I'm going to say.
Well, tell the audience what you're going to say.
It is a 64 box of crayons. The whole range of the color scheme. that is what I give this show.
I'm going to follow directions, and I'm going to give it 5 crayons.
Well, I'm old enough. I don't have to follow directions.
Yeah, well, that's why you Mama Mendez. You don't follow directions. But I'm going to follow directions and give it 5 crayons. Everyone has their opinion on the show. It's totally fine. The dating advice, I could kind of maybe see a little bit. But like I said, I feel like as an OT, that's something that we can address anyway. So, but I do like the show. I do like that it's a variety of people, variety of places, variety of ethnicities. And then, in the second season, you get, even more variety. I know there was concern about, families being interviewed, and they felt like it was more of the families than the participants. But again, I feel like that's who shaped that person. That's who shaped the participant. So I want to learn about that family and the trials and the tribulations. And I want to learn about the siblings. I'm a sibling. So it's very interesting in the other seasons to see, how siblings interact with the dating, or how the participants were like, oh, my brother or sister's dating and I'm not. I want to see that dynamic. So I didn't have a problem with it. But I understand why there was some critiques about it. So that's it for our first episode.
Yes.
We are done. We critiqued the show. And we thank you for watching. You're watching now. How amazing is that?
I know.
We thank you for watching.
It's not just a voice. We have a body.
I can't with my mother. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again. Thank you to Beacon Podcasting for, having us back.
Yes.
And next episode, we'll talk about getting your affairs in order.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if they're not the affairs that some people may think.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. My mother acting up. Stay tuned, y'all.
Okay, everybody. Bye. And please stay blessed.